A very good Sunday morning from the KTN News Center here in the nation's capital, Nairobi. Many thanks for joining us on Kenya's premier Sunday morning political broadcast, Inside Politics, here on KTN News. Many thanks for joining us this morning. We want to delve deeper into emerging political formations, the main one being a coalition around Amani National Congress Party leader Musalia Mudavadi, his Wiper counterpart Kalonzo Musyoka, KANU chairman Gideon Moi, and Ford Kenya leader Moses Wetangula, who are putting pressure on ODM leader Raila Odinga to pave way. In the meantime, Odinga says he's not having any of it. He has ruled out endorsing any of his former colleagues inside the National Super Alliance, NASA. What gives there? In the meantime, Kenya's ambassador to the Republic of South Korea has finally taken up a workstation in Seoul, but the executive and parliament are once again locking horns over that issue, the main bone of contention being Mwende Mwenzi's nationality or dual citizenship. We'll get into that as well and try to figure out which way that will be going. Many thanks for staying with us. Stick around for the next 120 minutes as we dissect some of these issues. My panelists are here with me to help me do just that. I have with me political strategist and lawyer Kipchumba Karori here with us in studio for the first time in a very long time. We also have the Duke of Mosocho, political risk analyst Dismas Mokua, political analyst Javas Bigambo, also joining us on Zoom virtually, communication strategist Mark Bichachi, and governance expert Hesbon Owila. Gentlemen, many thanks for joining us as always to help us dissect some of these issues for Kenyans. We'll be coming to in a short while. Let's get into it. ODM leader Raila Odinga has come under fire from the newly formed alliance comprising of party leaders Musalia Mudavadi, Kalonzo Musyoka, Moses Wetangula, and Gideon Moi. The formation dubbed Face of Kenya now wants Odinga to pave the way for other leaders, owing to the fact that his, quote, last and only remaining bullet was fired and missed in 2017. The leaders who were speaking while drumming up support for ANC's Peter Nabulingo for the Matungu parliamentary seat also vowed to maintain the alliance from which the next president shall come. Let's get more from Ibrahim Karanja.
The four-man-led, newly formed political alliance is beginning to cause ripples within the political space, forcefully claiming a stake in the 2022 succession politics. The team was on Wednesday drumming up support for ANC candidate in Matungu constituency by-election Peter Nabulindo in furthering their recent partnership to clinch MP seats in Matungu and Kabuchai, as well as the Machako senatorial race.
Because this is a sacred union, a new idea, a new formula to make sure this country remains stable.
Sisi tunataka tuimarishe uchumi wa Kenya, tunataka tudumishe amani, tunataka kila mtu awe na haki yake.
Na wakisimama hapa hata wasiposema kitu, wazungu wanasema a picture is 1,000 words. Hiyo picha mmeona tu hapa leo, it tells you a story for tomorrow.
Hii safari yetu ambayo tunaenda, ukiona sisi tukikuwa na ndugu zetu, ndio safari ya mabadiliko. It's a unity in purpose.
It is here that they reiterated their resolve to unite for the sake of the country's future, further making the Itete grounds affirmation that the fifth president of Kenya must come from the formation.
Firstborn wa alliance ya wanaume anaitwa Oscar Nabulingo.
The leaders who are using the by-elections as the springboard to an even robust presidential campaign further want ODM leader Raila Odinga to shelve his ambitions and let a new yet promising face take a shot at the presidency.
Invest in our brother Raila 30 political years. Sasa we ndugu Raila, this is your time now, bwana, to return your hand. A good turn deserves another.
Sasa sisi tunatazama, tunaona je, mzee wetu alikuwa amekubali kwamba atafyatua risasi, alafu apeane nafasi, Kalonzo naye afyatue yake, Musalia afyatue yake, Weta afyatue yake. Sasa tunaona ndugu yetu ameenda kukopa bunduki ya mwingine, anataka kufyatua tena.
Sababu Wakenya wamechoka na siasa ya chuki, wamechoka na siasa ya ukabila, wamechoka na siasa ufisadi. Mfisadi anakuja na anakwambia basi chukua wheelbarrow hii, alafu na mwenyewe ako na machopa 6. Wenyewe wafisadi nambari 1.
Na ile maziwa nyinyi pa nataka. Ile. Paketi ile. Hiyo nyinyi utaona wakati huo.
The issue of the elusive Luhya unity once again playing out as a quest to solidify the vote-rich Western.
Kumbuke baba yenu ni Musalia Mudavadi. Wenye wanataka kuleta ndizi kula, mkiletewa njugu kula, mkiletewa viatu kula, lakini ikifika kuulizwa baba yenu ni nani, ni Musalia Mudavadi.
Matungu goes to the polls on the 4th of March 2021, with ANC squaring it out for the seat against candidates from ODM, UDA and a host of independent candidates. The new formation that has brought together 4 political parties counts on their wealth of experience, sobriety and ability to spread their wings to other parts of the country as their secret card to State House. But even as the 4 vow to maintain their unity, the big question remains on who will be their secret candidate even as the race to State House draws nearer. Ibrahim Karanja, KTN News from Harambee, Matungu, Kakamega County.
Thank you, Ibrahim. So at least 15 people have expressed their desire to run for the presidency in the next general election. Observers say the formation will come down to just 3. Are we seeing one of them? In studio with me this Sunday morning is Javas Bigamo, political analyst, political risk analyst Dismas Mokua, lawyer and political strategist Kipchumba Karori, governance expert Hesbon Owila, and communication strategist Mark Bichachi. Welcome, gentlemen. Let me begin with you, Javas. What we are seeing in the run-up to the Matungu and Kabuchai parliamentary by-elections, is this a coalition that will last?
Well, thank you, Ben. First, I would say that the declarations or the statements that have come out of Matungu are quite interesting. And I would say that while they are quite intriguing to the extent that they seem to be stirring up the political waters, I find it very hard to speak of cats as I would of lions. Because these gentlemen, remarkable as they are not speaking to any particular issue as to what is it that propels them or any of them to desire to hold office of the chief executive of the country. The issue of unity is not at issue right now. Kenya does not need unity to turn around the fortunes of citizens as they are right now. And while they come together as they have, and they demand of Raila Odinga that Raila Odinga should now pave way for them and endorse them, I think that it's proper for us to agree that after 21 days, a chick always just hatches by itself because of the period of incubation. Kalonzo Musyoka, Musalia Mudavadi, Gideon Moi, Moses Wetangula should politically hatch and not depend upon the good masses of Raila Odinga to endorse any of them.
All right.
And that's why I'm happy with the response of Raila Odinga that actually he is not interested in endorsing any and he'll not do it.
Kipchumba, have the 4 stumbled on our potential winning formula, or are we reading too much into this?
Thank you, Ben. No matter how much you try to paint a donkey, it can never be a horse, Ben. That's the difficulty here. We are trying to fashion a coalition of 4 lackluster politicians, status quo representatives. At the end of the day, you need to ask yourselves, what does Gideon Moi represent in the 2-decade political history years? What does Wetangula represent? Of the 4, the only thing you can remember of that constellation of politicians is the scandals they have been involved in at individual level, from Goldenberg, Kroll, Embassy, Tokyo Embassy, NYS, land, and all manner of things. At the end of the day, the coalition lacks an oomph, and whether it will stand the test of time is another thing. And Ben, remember, people coalesce around each other because politics is not a beauty pageant. Politics is about numbers. The numbers the 4 of them carry total is 2.8 million.
Right.
I don't know how much that can get you.
That indicates that the 4 of them are looked at as not very polarizing figures, and they are safe pair of hands. And that William Ruto should be more worried about them than even Raila Odinga. What is your take on that?
I think, Ben, you have to realize that we are talking about Kenyan politics. We are not looking for a CEO of a blue chip company. That is how you go. When you want a CEO of a big company, you go for a compromise candidate. But the four of them, Ben, represent one thing that you must give it to them. They represent status quo. That is why Mudavadi is the only politician on record who has always been favored by the system to take over. Why? Because it does not represent any shift in terms of ideology, any shift in terms of the thinking. So the people who have captured the state of Kenya always want him because they know with him, we are still here to eat the goat.
Mark Bichachi, what's your take on this new political formation?
Is pretty simple. Number one is these politicians have realized that none of them can raise to the occasion by themselves. So it's quite clever for them to amalgamate their fortunes and put them together to have a stab at the presidency. And if you want to know how weak they are in compared to Raila, they're trying to insist that Raila must retire as though there is a determined age or a determined number of presidential runs that one should have before they hang up their boots. It is important to remind them that the current president of America, Joe Biden, tried many times to be president and he failed. It is no disqualification for anyone to run. Number two, the idea that Mudavadi is a state project, is a project for the deep state, it's quite laughable, because I remember the person they're calling deep state was once in opposition and wanted to run with Mudavadi. So let's speak to Kenyans the truth. These are political formations. They're not formed because of deep state. They're formed for the sole purpose of achieving power, just the same way as Tangatanga and Keleweke exist to achieve power.
All right. Dismas, Gideon Moi, Kalonzo Musyoka, Moses Wetangula, Musalia Mudavadi. Is this the face of Kenya?
Well, you know, as we approach the general elections in 2022, politicians will be forming so many formations. And in my view, for Mura, the more the merrier, so that we're able to identify politicians for their track record of success or track record of failure. And as we approach the 2022 scoreboard, you're beginning to see two kinds of politicians. There are those ones who have embraced toxic politics, and they go campaigning, and their campaigns are anchored on alternative facts, fake news, lies, and deceit. And the Kenyans know them by name. When you see them coming around, they tell you want to give you a good future. In 2022, yet as we have this conversation, they're part of the presidency, and they've served in the cabinet. Actually, they started serving in the cabinet from the time they left high school. One of them was in YK 92. He was an assistant minister who used to attend cabinet meetings, and he's been part and parcel of the system every single election. He's worked with the so-called dynasties. And another one is a compatriot as well as embraced the toxic politics as well. So as we approach 2022, Kenyans will be given a choice that they can go with these toxic politicians who will tell you they want to put up a bridge even if a river does not exist, or a valley, or people who want to work on our economics of the day. Okay. And you know, people will call them names. They'll say that maybe they are donkeys or they are cats. But Mura, back in the village in Mososho, is looking at all these people and asking, who among all these politicians actually understands the ills facing Kenya? And right now, our priority is about economics. So you've been the deputy president for the last 10 years. And then you're telling us you're going to give us a wheelbarrow, or there's a hustler philosophy. Why can't you run on your record? Why are you running on promises? So in my view, let's encourage everybody. Mr. KITILI is coming on board. Anybody who wants to come and run, let them come on board, let them form formations. But at the end of the day, we'll evaluate them on their track record of success. All right.
Let's bring in Hesbon Owila. Hesbon, what's your take on this new formation and the assertion that Raila Odinga should probably pave the way for new crop of leaders to come through?
I think, first of all, that idea of eliminating strong rivals is a fairly lazy way of campaigning. When people start saying that the deputy president, this and that, Raila Odinga should retire, I think it's a very lazy way of doing politics, because at the end of the day, it's the people of Kenya who will decide. But I think for the emergent coalitions that are forming, it's a good thing, just like Christmas notes, that the moment they form, we would expect that they will coalesce around ideas. But why do I have a problem with this, coming together of, 4, presidential candidates in Senator Gideon Moi, Moses Wetangula, Musalia Mudavadi, and Kalonzo Musyoka? One. The 3, among those 4, 3 of them have this baggage with them. They are still limping from the fact that they deserted Raila at his very hour of need. Remember that January of 2018, when Raila was being sworn in as the people's president, they never showed up. So when they rally around with this narrative that they've supported Raila, the question is, in 2017, we had 2 elections. So if there was one bullet, that bullet was not fired. And when that bullet was being armed, these guys just disappeared. So they'll be limping until they deal with that. And then secondly, I think it's unfair to start talking about, who should support who. Because my understanding of politics, and I guess they are better politicians, they need to understand this. But in politics, no one supports you for things that you've done in the past or for the things that they did to you in the past as politicians. People support you or coalesce around you on the basis of an unassailable political capital that you have amassed. So if you look at these 4 political presidential candidates, I think they are angling for what Raila has, but they're not showing Kenyans what they have. And the moment they start bringing in that capital that is unassailable, it would be easy for them to attract other presidential candidates into a common cause. But as it is right now, I'm still finding it difficult to understand their common cause.
Javas, very quickly, tell me what this means for William Ruto, who has been seen as the man to beat. The fact that he's now facing 2 different, contenders. There's one coalition on one side, and there's Raila Odinga and whatever he's coming up with on the other hand. Does that make the work harder for him? And is this better, a good thing for Kenyans that we have more options?
It is a good thing for Kenyans that we have got far too many options, because it shows that the political space is so wide that anybody can entertain their ambition and their hopes. The thing that emerges with these other contestants, first or placed side by side with Raila Odinga and William Ruto, is that while the seriousness of William Ruto's candidature and the quantum of seriousness can be established with William Ruto and with Raila Odinga, this test of seriousness cannot be established with the contest that emerges from the quarters of Musalia and Kalonzo and Wetangula. And the thing is that we need also to come to a point where we appreciate that the more candidates entertain their aspirations, then we start having the idea about politics being driven by substance, by ideas. Because when you listen keenly to Raila Odinga, he's speaking about various issues that are touching on the economy, on socioeconomic issues. When you listen to William Ruto, he's speaking about socioeconomic issues of Kenyans and how he intends to turn around if given a chance to be the chief executive. When you listen to Kalonzo Musyoka, then he says that Kenyans are tired of tribalism. He's not talking about what he intends to do if at all he becomes the president. When you listen to Moses Wetangula, he's not speaking about the issues that he is capable of doing as president.
Right.
So the issue here is that having such kind of a galaxy of aspirants improves also the quality of our democracy. I'm sure that William Ruto cannot lose sleep because of the declaration of the unity between Kalonzo and Wetangula and Gideon, 4 of them, and Raila Odinga cannot even begin to lose sleep either.
Kipchumba, very quickly, where do you see this going in terms of vis-a-vis the BBI, the fact that we have more positions to share out in terms of that issue of political inclusivity? Where do you see this going with these formations?
Funny enough, Ben, as most people will think, BBI offers all the political players.
Right.
It offers them an advantage in the area that it gives them options that if I have 5 people, I can dish positions to 5 regions. Whereas the problems we see in the BBI as normal Kenyans are not the same problem that politicians see. Politicians want opportunities. For Kenyans, we want something that is sustainable. And at the end of the day, politics is all about image what you paint. BBI allows a politician to paint an image of a nationalist, and that is what any politician will be looking at. But then we have to realize that when we are heading to 2022,
yes,
we have so far, whereas politics and everything appreciates volumetrics, but when it comes to winning, it goes to the quality of the contenders. And so far, there are only two horses in the race. That is Raila Odinga and William Ruto. And we must also break down to our viewers to understand why we are saying we are just dismissing the other pact, because when you go to Western Kenya, you will realize that we have 4 presidential candidates who Mudavadi must have a discussion with. And even within the 4, Raila Odinga still holds sway in Western Kenya.
We'll get into that. We'll get into that. Let's take a quick commercial break here on Inside Politics. Many thanks for staying with us. When we come back, we shall focus on Raila Amolo Odinga. What does this mean? And the Sunday Standard is reporting on its headline, "I will not endorse anyone." That is Raila Odinga saying it is a season of breakups and new alliances. He is also hinting at new alliances. Which way, Raila Odinga? Stay with us. All right, stay with us. We shall be coming back with that and more. Stand by also to join us at the tail end of the program with your calls. Our studio lines will be scrolling at the bottom end of your screen. Stay with us.